Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl, it's a different mode. I might have to make a paint of 6 on a pinky toe. Heard you with a
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to have a general discussion with all of you about palette swaps. I've been live streaming quite a bit lately trying to figure everything out. So once Tekken 8 get here, I'll be a master of live streaming and we can play games and I could battle some of you guys. We could do story and all that stuff. But in the meantime, it's all like practice. But the reason why I say that is because lately on the live streams, there's been a lot of people popping up here and there talking about palette swaps. What's my opinion on it? And I think this topic is very important. And after the live stream, I went to Google and I simply just started searching for topics or news articles or anything that had to do with palette swaps. I also checked Twitter, and when I did, bingo, I got one. Micheal Murray is directly responding to people talking about palette swaps, and I think his response is crucial. It's very important. But before we even talk about his response, we have to talk about how we got here, because the story of the palette swap is kind of cool in a way. It goes all the way back to the original Street Fighter. Ryu and Ken, even older fighting games did this. You would have one character which is kind of like the main character, kind of like the primary, and then the palette swap would simply be the same character, just changed a different color. Street Fighter still does this to this day. Of course, Mortal Kombat is infamous or famous for doing this. With all of the ninjas, you had Katana, Melina, you had Smoke, Noob, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Cyrax. All of these guys are like palette swaps of one another. Literally the same exact character, just switched a different color, kind of like the Power Rangers. And I think it's interesting to see how all of these characters, all of the characters, not just Tekken, Ryu, Ken, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, all of these characters grew and progressed into their own things, their own story, own identities, own everything. It really is crazy to see how far the palette swap has come, but also I think in some, well, mostly in Tekken, the palette swap has been lost along the way. Think about that. Compare Tekken and their palette swap characters, Violet, Lee, Baek-Doo-san, Harong, versus Mortal Kombat. You have a character like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Rain, Smoke. Those characters feel so much more unique and different than Harong and all of the other Tekken characters. It really kind of shows how little Tekken has pushed these characters' story. And I guess Tekken has always been focused on like gameplay, where Mortal Kombat, they seem like they've been dipping their toes more into story. Even when you go way back then, story has been a very focal point, but that does not underestimate the gameplay, because the gameplay in the older Mortal Kombat was just as legendary. But I think that is an important distinction to make, is how all these characters tackled palette swaps and also how they evolved it. A lot of people don't know this, but Harada is not the creator of Tekken. Neither is Micheal Murray. Micheal Murray, I believe he stepped in at Tekken 5. I believe Harada stepped in at Tekken 3 or Tekken 4. But the creator, I don't even know his name, but he's out there somewhere. The creator of Tekken made 1 and 2, and he didn't really plan out the story. And of course, this is all from Harada, who knows exactly what happened back then. But when Harada and Micheal Murray came in to take over, they also brought a brand new wave of characters, replacing a lot of the old characters that the old creator created, right? You had a lot of characters get wiped away. Martial Law, Jun Kazama, Baek-Doo-san, Wang, but not really, Violet, Eddie, Christine, whichever one is the original, Kuma, and Panda. Even though Kuma and Panda is an odd case, they seem to be one of the only palette swaps that survived the test of time. It's odd, those two. But in Tekken 8, people want palette swaps to return. There's two ways you can do it. One, let's use Eddie as an example. You have Eddie on the roster, but then when you click square or circle, whatever, it opens up outfits. And then let's say you go down on the D-pad. You know how you could go right to choose more outfits? Let's say you go down on the D-pad and then it goes to Christine as a palette swap. You could choose Christine and you could have your whole entire customizations for her as well. That is what people want from Forrest, Marshall, Christine, all the names I just listed. Harang, all of them. And I too like palette swaps. It's kind of funny because in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, I used to love Slim Bob. Slim Bob, I played that character quite a bit. Dragunov, Slim Bob, and Yoshimitsu was my main three. Even though I don't say it that much, Slim Bob was an incredible character. But on the flip side, I don't know why, but I do not like Bob. Even though those two really are a one-to-one copy, one is just Bob and one is Slim Bob, I think Slim Bob is just so much better. He's a great character. Let's read this tweet from Michael Murray and then we'll talk more in depth about it. So the first one, I don't really like. This thread goes on and on and on, but I stopped it at Savvy. Was she any different than Eddie? Raphael says, honestly, Namco could make all Christine fans happy by simply giving Eddie a Christine skin like Lee/Violet. Michael Murray responds, Christine is female. Violet is not. Neither is Eddie. Have you played a female character in GTA Online with a male animations? This might give you an idea. LOL. And he said this 4 p.m. September 7th, 2019. And I think he does bring up a good point. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this topic, but Hitboxes. And I'm not talking about actually, let's talk about Tekken. When Fakaram was introduced into the game, he is one of the tallest characters in the game. But when he was added, he had a normal average height hitbox. And what happened? A lot of attacks whiffed him. It went over, it went under, it went through. A lot of hurtbox issues. In shooting games like Call of Duty, CSGO, and even GTA, it's even more noticeable. Because on those games, you got to go for a headshot, a specific target. And the subtle differences between a man and a female, their shoulders, their head, neck, whatever, right? Chest, feet, whatever you want to call it, trying to pinpoint that specific body part can be difficult. A fraction of an inch can throw everything out of whack. Just to give you guys another example, let's use Slim Bob and Bob. If those two were a palette swap, Bob being the original character, Bob has a big boy hitbox. Slim Bob would need to have a little hitbox, or else one, he will either be getting hit when he shouldn't be, and two, you will be able to do big boy combos on Slim Bob. So you guys kind of see where I'm going with this. But at the end of the day, this is something that can be easily tweaked. They simply have to just go into the game files and the backside of the game and simply give Christine a female hitbox, Eddie a male hitbox, and just do that for everyone. Baek-to-san, Harang, just whatever gender or pronouns that character have, just give them that pronoun hitbox, and then everything will be fine. But now we got to talk about the other portion. Is it worth doing that? That's a lot of effort. So basically what you have is you get two characters for the price of one. You get Eddie and Christine as one, Bob, Slim Bob one, Harang, Baek-to-san one. All these characters, you're doing twice the work for one character. And I think that's a bit much. It's a little bit more understandable when it comes to like Christine and Eddie and some of the main characters. But where I think the community gets away from, where it sort of becomes unreal, asking for too much, is when we get to characters like Martial Law and Forest Law. Especially when you start talking about giving these characters independent movesets. Martial Law and Forest Law, I think they have like 4 moves that's different, or 2 moves, I don't know. But in online, that would make that character that much more of a nuisance. Casuals would not be able to differentiate Martial from Forest, especially if you dress him down in some weird costume. you will not be able to understand that he does have this move or doesn't. A question that I have for you guys that maybe want these palette swaps in the game: how would you feel if they did do palette swaps but they eliminated the different movesets? So for example, they did Raven and Master Raven, but they used Master Raven's moveset for both. Would you be happy with that, or would you be angry? On Twitter, yelling at Harada and telling him in season 1 of Tekken 8 to do better. How far does it go? Where does it end is my question. In my opinion, what I think they could do is just look at like statistics, look at popularity, and just pick whichever is the most popular of the two. Also, they would have to factor in story. Like for example, Eddie's story is horrible. Maybe they can use Christine to help Eddie deal with Lucky Chloe in that whole ordeal. On the flip side, maybe Master Raven and Raven could team up to take down Dragunov. Put them as a palette swap together. Kuma and Panda, they definitely should be a palette swap. And the thing about Panda and Kuma, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about martial law and force law. These two characters have very few differences. Only Rangchu and maybe true bear mains can distinguish those differences, and it makes that matchup that much more harder. So I guess we kind of already have that scenario in Tekken, where you have these characters who kind of are exactly the same, but they have a minute detail that's different, maybe some frames, maybe a move or something like that, and it just makes it that much more difficult. Wrapping off this video and talking about whether they will or they won't in Tekken 8. Me personally, I don't think they will. Like I said, it's too much work, and also you can't please everyone. I also think this isn't a door that they should open. Once they do palette swaps, where does it end? You're gonna have the Violet and the Lays show up. You're gonna have the Raven community show up. The Bruce community show up. This is just gonna be a problem that we do not need stacked on top of a game that needs to be perfect. Tekken 8, and the reason why I'm saying we do not need is because Tekken 7 has had so many problems already. We see the disaster that this game is. Now, in Tekken 8, they are going to be competing with Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 12. We haven't seen MK12, but SF6 looks crazy. We cannot have all this dumb shenanigan stuff going on with Tekken 8 and miss the real important features. Like, they spend so much time doing all this palette swap stuff that will take away time from them doing story, doing game modes, team battle, outfits. That's what I'm really interested in seeing, the new outfits that everyone gets. I really want these designs to be crazy, to be next level, because we see what they're doing with the DLC. I hope everyone gets that same kind of love going into Tekken 8, and palette swaps will do nothing but make that that process harder, longer, strenuous. But I think it is interesting here what Michael Murray say. Christine is a female, Violet is not, neither is Eddie. Have you ever played a female character in GTA Online with male animations? This might give you an idea, LOL. That's my opinion on the topic. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and bye bye.